A scam artist will never come to your house and tell you, give me your keys. Give me your PIN code of your bank card. He will never do that. Why not? Because if someone would knock on your door and tell you to give him your keys and to give him your bank data, you would ask, who are you? And they'll be in trouble. They may even lose their life if someone who just had a very bad period and they lost it. So scam artists will not do that. What they might do is send you a phishing mail. If you have an account or you're using, let's say, American Express, they may send you a fake email. And it's an email allegedly from American Express, but it's not from American Express, in which you have to fill in your data. And you think it's from American Express, but it's not from American Express. So after you fill in your data, you now authorize them to have access to your account, and they plunder your account. That's how they do it. Or if you have a guy who tends to beat people and abuse people, the first time you meet him, he's not going to say, when I don't get what I want, someone needs to die. He's not going to say things like that. He's not going to give away how rotten and defect he is. Especially if you're from the opposite sex. He'll pretend to be everything you ever wanted. That's how you're love bombed by him, you end up marrying him, and afterwards, the damage will unfold. And then it's too late because it's already unfolding. A scam artist knows that he needs to have the leverage. Because without any leverage, he can't convince you to do what he wants you to do. Because what he wants you to do is to grant him a leverage over you. So the scam artist wants a leverage over you that he shouldn't have. And he can't justify why he wants his leverage. So he needs to trick you into complying with his leverage he wants over you. For example, if someone wants you to walk on the left side of the road, and let's say that's the convention that, for example, in Britain, people use the left side of the road. That's understandable. People can expect that from you. That people put police officers on the street to remind people of this, to prevent accidents. Okay, we can understand that. But that people want to know everything about you without any explanation, no, that goes too far. That means they want to control you. That they want you to walk on the left side of the road, that's one thing. That they put authority figures out there that they expect you to obey, that can also happen. But that people want to control you, that people want a leverage over you at your expense, that's not right, and they can't justify it. There is no way to justify such a situation. That's why any scam artist, whether it's an organization, because there are also organizations that scam people, whether it's an organization or just an individual, but individuals tend to join other scam artists to operate as a group because together you achieve more. Any scam artist has to convince you that you lack something and that they have what you need. Let me repeat that. Every scam artist needs to convince you that you lack something that only they can provide you. That is how scam artists scam you. And here's the worst part. People that are narcissistic are more likely to be scammed. Let me repeat that. Narcissistic people are far more likely to be scammed. Because narcissistic people, they operate in a black and white thinking. They operate in toxic relief seeking. So narcissistic people don't want to reflect on themselves nor examine anything. That's why they are eager to jump on any distraction as long as they don't have to self-reflect. That's why scam artists love to scam narcissists and narcissistic people. A believer that walks by faith, scam artists can't stand you because they can't scam you. Because a believer that walks by faith will notice things very, very quickly. A worldly individual without Christ that's alert will also notice things. Scam artists need to convince you of some lack that only they can fill. You don't have to agree that they are the ones that can fill it for you, or that they're the only ones who can fill it. The fact alone that you have been convinced that the lack exists, you've already fallen for the scam. The same way with phishing mail. When you click on the link in the phishing mail, you already get malware on your computer. And that malware will gather all the data from your computer and send it to the scam artist. So let's say you click on the link and you have this form that you need to fill in with all your data. Let's say you don't fill in the form and send it. You don't have to, because you already have malware on your computer without you being aware of it that leaks data from you to the criminals, and the criminals can now use that data to exploit you. The same way it is with scam artists. The moment they've convinced you of a lack, you've already fallen for the scam. Because when there's lack, there needs to be provision. And because you've been convinced there's a lack that actually isn't there, now you were looking for a provision you really don't need, but you think you need a provision. So now you'll be operating against your self-interest without you being aware of it. And that is the gaslighting that scam artists cause you. They want you to look for a solution that you don't need because the problem that you want to solve does not exist. So, lack of knowledge is not bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance can kill you. Ignorance can cause you a lot of harm. That is why believers ought to pray all the time. Believers ought to be spiritually active at all times. This whole attitude of believers only praying once in a while, what is that? Don't you know that those that follow Islam pray 5 times a day? And they're dedicated in doing it? They don't pray in line with Christ. They don't. They worship other entities. Because a part of Christ is those demonic entities. There is no middle ground. They think they're worshiping the Most High, but they're deceived. Nevertheless, they pray 5 times a day. And you know what? Their prayers, even though it's paranormal, it has effect. It works. That's why wherever they go, they get leverage in economy, in politics, as well as in society. Because they invest spiritually in whatever they're doing. Believers, those that follow Christ, should invest spiritually every day. And look at this, believer. Christ said to rejoice when people hate you, don't want to hang out, don't want to be around you, and it casts out your name for evil because of his name's sake. So when you're serving him, and because you're serving him, people do you dirty, they exclude you of that, rejoice. Christ said your reward is great in heaven. Not that you're going to heaven, but you're provided from heaven. So your provisions for your life on earth is great in heaven. Why? This is what Christ means. When you don't rely on the toxic restrictions of the world, you're free to make abundant use of the provision that he gives you, which is incorruptible and which never fades away. When you are not walking in line with Christ, you eventually will be scammed. It's just a matter of time. And here's the thing. When people in the world realize that they've been scammed, they try to cover it. They don't want to admit this, that they've been fooled. It's very hard to get people to admit they've been fooled. And especially people that invested a lot against other people, they are the worst deniers. that there are. They will deny unto death they've been scammed. So that's why you have a lot of racist people in all ethnicities that just can't forfeit their racism, because they've invested so much against other people to find out that they've been lied to, that they've been scammed. Just realize that if even people in the dark side are aware that they need to have a leverage for things to work, then believers should walk in their leverage at all times. Believer, know who you are. Be at peace.